Hello out there in cryptocurrency land. Welcome back to Real Crypto, where we take the markets one leg at a time while keeping the market cycle in mind. And Bitcoin's been on a monster run here. We're up about 160% from the capitulation lows in mid-March. And we're coming up to some resistance areas, namely a double top area here at about the 10,400 level. We also happen to have a measured move on my Binance chart, which is right here, and this is a measured move that takes us to about the $10,200 level, give or take. And so the question here is, do we continue going up as we hit these higher level targets and start meeting resistance levels? Or is this a sell the news event with the Bitcoin halving happening in about 4 days? Now, most people are going to say this is a sell the news type of an event, and I can't disagree with that too much. The halving has been a much hyped event for a very long time in Bitcoin, and everyone's saying the market's going to rally huge into the halving, and after the halving, it's, reduced supply, things are going to keep going good. And I kind of think there's a mixture of the two. I think you're going to get some sell the news, but I also think we continue with the uptrend. Now, time will tell actually how this plays out, but let's take a look at the chart and kind of see where we've been and where we have left to go, which isn't extraordinarily far. And then we'll talk about possibilities if we're actually able to have a much larger breakout from here. So first of all, we had the capitulation low here at BTC down about $3,700. Ever since that, we've been in a very, very one-directional uptrend. We had a small consolidation in the middle here, ranging from about 74.50 all the way down to about 64, so about a $1,000 price range. But on the chart here, that's a very, very manageable position. Now, since then, we've actually almost completed a measured move from this move to the high and this low to where we are now. We're only a couple $100 away as we're literally knocking on the door of 10K. If you remember, yesterday and the day before, we were kind of knocking here at 9K, and we were finally able to get above that. Now, let's talk about sell the news, then we'll talk about melt up and the possibility of kind of a hybrid. So sell the news event is that when everyone in the market is kind of ignoring the market until they hear on the news the Bitcoin halving is coming up, and that's a big event. What happens then is a lot of retail traders and the traders that aren't very active step back into the markets and try to buy Bitcoin on the event date. And usually when everyone knows about an event, the event doesn't happen. And at least that's the way it is in the stock market. Hopefully it's not that way with your wedding, but with the markets, it basically works that way. So we are probably definitely going to see some kind of a sell the news event. It's hard to say how large it's going to be. It's hard to say if it's going to take a larger duration or not. No one knows what that sell-off is going to look like until it starts to occur. But one thing to look for if you are long in this market, you're going to have to make a decision as far as whether you want to hold for much larger prices or whether you want to sell it and then wait to re-enter. Now, if you're not much of a trader, if you're more of a hodler, you may not sell it at all. The Bitcoin halving event, you may understand there's going to be some kind of sell the news component, but you may want to hold that position for a long term. I've got a hodl position in BTC. I'm not selling. I didn't sell before capitulation, into capitulation, after capitulation. I didn't sell, and I'm not going to sell here either. I'm just gonna let it run. But for those of you more immediate traders that are involved in the markets pretty much every single day, you have a decision to make because you do have the ability to sell, maybe have a better price, see what the market's going to do, and then find a fill that actually makes some sense. So that's the sell the news event. How do you sell the news? Well, you can basically take profits almost at any time. I don't know how much more upside we do have. There's actually two ways to draw this measured move. One is from the bottom of this consolidation, and the other is actually starting at the top of the consolidation, which actually takes us a little bit higher to about the $10,800 level. So we could have a little bit more runway in here than I initially had on my chart. Now, something to note here coming up is, oh, they both have the same trend line. Okay. One thing coming up is this kind of double top situation. So this is a blatant double top, had a top here, came up, top, rolled over, and we're coming back and revisiting that again. So let's say we have a sell the news event and it doesn't go very far, kind of similar to our little consolidation right here. All right, it's just a small pause. What does that mean? Does that mean that we're going to continue going up? It definitely could. I want you to notice a couple of things. Whenever we hit this top here previously, the first time was just a wick, just a large spike. The second time over here wasn't a spike, but it was kind of a very low volume melt up into it. We were barely above average volume, and we also kind of didn't have a lot of momentum. Currently, we have a tremendous amount of momentum. We're not at that level though. So if we were to pause up here and form another base, we can actually have a launching pad for breaking through that, and that would actually continue this melt up with Bitcoin. All right, so I got a trend line that we've been looking at here in the Real Crypto Power Hour, which is this trend line from the bottom of BTC and until this point, which if you just take this trend line and move it up from the bottom, you'll hit something. That's the trend line. So if you're looking to exit and you want to have kind of a wider stop loss to give everything a chance to play out, you could use this trend line as an exit. Now, odds are at some stage of the game, this trend line will be broken. I can't say if it's going to be tomorrow, the next day, or 3 weeks from now. If you extend this out, actually, there is quite a bit of runway. If we were to extend up a little bit more, maybe to that 10,800 level, which is right about here. If you go horizontal, you can see that gives us to about May 22nd, give or take, which is approximately, what is that, like a week? About a week and a half away, week to week and a half before we hit this trend line again. So there is a good possibility that we can hold out up here and then just continue on onward and upward into bigger and better things. Is it likely that that happens? That's more difficult to say. Really, the best thing to do is just to watch for the price action. It can guide you and kind of tell you, is this overt distribution? Is this just some simple profit taking? And that's what we do every day in the Power Hour, is we kind of walk through that price action and kind of go through what we see in the charts, what to look for if we see early selling or if we don't see that early selling. So that's kind of the melt up situation. And we also discussed sell the news. Now there's also a hybrid model. There's a hybrid model, which is essentially we form some kind of a top up here. It's hard to know what it is. Maybe it's a very large BTC candle, maybe similar, to similar to a candle like this. Maybe akin to a candle like this red candle, but a much larger BTC candle, probably up in here, a little bit above these maybe. And then we put in a topping candle, but the melt down is not very aggressive. It actually is on lower volume, but our price does come down somewhat substantially. Now, my argument here for the hybrid model between the melt up and the sell the news is that after capitulation, that is the low for Bitcoin. So at least in my eyes, the way that I view the markets, this $3,700 level should not be tested again on Bitcoin. So if we come up here and flash a topping candle, you have a decision to make if you're going to sell. And then, there's obviously a multitude of possibilities here. We could go on to a larger cup and handle. There's just so many possibilities from here that anything I say is going to be speculation. So the thing that I'm probably looking for is just sell the legs, sell the top, wait for the consolidation to happen, and we're going to revisit Bitcoin. Try to buy it maybe in a trough if it's a cup and handle, or if it's going to be a double bottom pattern or inverse head and shoulders pattern. Try to buy something like that, and just take it, one leg at a time while keeping the market cycle in mind. And if you guys like how I approach the markets there with that one leg at a time, guys, go ahead and hit this like button. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and that bell so you get notifications. If you guys want some more up-to-date analysis, please feel free to join me over here in the Real Crypto Power Hour. You can click on the services button up here on my website and get all the information and sign up right here if you like to. So thanks for joining me today, guys. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.